Are you ready to get into Yah's Word today? I am as well. I want to invite you to open your Bibles with me to Deuteronomy chapter 1. We're going to begin with verse 1 in just a moment, and we're tracking along with the Torah portion for this week. And we're going to be reading through Deuteronomy chapter 1 and gleaning many wonderful principles about trusting Yah. Yah wants to be trusted. If you are going to inherit the promises that Yah has made to you, you have to learn to trust Him. Trust and obedience will cause you to inherit. Distrust and disobedience will never lead you to inheriting the promises. Let's begin with verse 1. It says, "These are the words which Moshe spoke to all Israel beyond the Jordan, in the wilderness, in the desert plain, opposite Suf, between Paran and Tophel, and Laban, and Hatzarot, and Dizahab." 11 days journey from Horeb. Horeb is next to Mount Sinai. It's the place where the water came out of the rock. By way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. And it came to be in the 40th year, in the 11th new moon, or the 11th biblical month, on the first day of the new moon, that Moshe spoke to the children of Israel according to all that Yah had commanded him concerning them. After he had stricken Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and Og, sovereign of Bashan, who dwelt at Ashtaroth in Adrai. Beyond the Jordan, in the land of Moab, Moshe undertook to declare this Torah, saying, Yah our Elohim spoke to us in Horeb, saying, You have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Turn and set out on your way and go into the mountains of the Amorites and to all the neighboring places in the desert plain, in the mountains and in the low country and in the Negev and on the seacoast, to the land of the Canaanites and to Lebanon, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. See, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yah swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Yaakov, to give to them and their seed after them. So Yah had promised to give this land to the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. And Yah is good on his promises. You can trust him. If he said it, shall he not do it? If he spoke it, shall it not come to pass? And I spoke to you at that time, saying, I am unable to bear you by myself. Yah, your Elohim, has increased you, and see, you are today as numerous as the stars of the heavens. Well, Yah had promised that. He's good on his promises. Yah Elohim of your fathers is going to add to you 1,000 times more than you are, and bless you as he has spoken to you. He will keep his promises. He promised all those things. That you will be as the stars of the heavens and the sand on the seashore. How do I bear your pressure and your burden and your strife by myself? Choose men, wise and understanding, and known to your tribes, and let me appoint them as your heads. And you answered me and said, The word which you have spoken to us to do is good. And I took the heads of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, leaders of thousands, and leaders of hundreds, and leaders of fifties, and leaders of tens, and officers for your tribes. And I commanded your judges at that time, saying, When hearing between your brothers, judge righteously between a man and his brother, or the stranger who is with him. In other words, judge according to my righteous Torah, my commandments. Be representatives of me. Judge in the manner that I declare in my Torah. Do not show partiality in right ruling. Hear the small as well as the great. Don't see status among the people that you are bringing judgments to. Again, do not show partiality in right ruling. Hear the small as well as the great. Do not be afraid of anyone's face. Don't be concerned about their status. For the right ruling belongs to Elohim. Judge in the manner that I declare in my Torah. The right ruling belongs to Elohim. And the case which is too hard for you, bring it to me. This is Moshe speaking. And I shall hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the words which you should do. Then we set out from Horeb and went through all that great and awesome wilderness which you saw on the way to the mountains of the Amorites, as Yah our Elohim had commanded us. And we came to Kadesh Barnea, and I said to you, you have come to the mountains of the Amorites, which Yah our Elohim is giving us. We know he's giving it to us because he's promised. See, Yah your Elohim has set the land before you. Go up and possess it, as Yah Elohim of your fathers has spoken to you. Do not fear, nor be discouraged. Yah is with you. Yah has promised to give you this land. Yah has proven his trustworthiness. He brought you out of Mitzrayim with a strong hand. You saw signs and wonders. He brought you through the Sea of Reeds on dry land. He went before you in a cloud by day and a fire by night. He brought manna from heaven. He brought water out of a rock. You have seen the awesome acts of your Creator, and so trust him. Do not fear, nor be discouraged. Go in and possess the land that Yah has promised you. You need to trust him. He is a good husband. He is married to you. He is a powerful provider. He is a protector. He has carried you as a father carries a son. Trust him. And all of you came near to me and said, let us send men before us, and let them search out the land for us, and bring back word to us of the way by which we should go up. Not if we should go up, but let them bring back word to us of the way by which we should go up, and of the cities into which we would come. And the matter was good in my eyes. And so they weren't saying, let's send out spies to let us know whether or not we should go up. That's not what they said to Moshe. They said, let's send out these spies to go in and bring back word of the way we should go up. And the matter was good in my eyes. So I took 12 of your men, one man from each tribe, and they turned and went up into the mountains and came to the Wadi Eshkol and spied it out. And they took some of the fruit of the land in their hands and brought it down to us. And they brought back word to us, saying, the land which Yah our Elohim is giving us is good. So Yah said it would be fruitful. Yah said it would be a land flowing with milk and honey. Yah said that it would be a land that he personally would bless with the rain. And so they went and they brought some of the produce back, and their report was, the land which Yah our Elohim is giving us is good. So notice they're still on track with trusting Yah here. They believe that Yah is going to give them the land and that it is good. But you would not go up and rebelled against the mouth of Yah, your Elohim. You didn't trust him. You would not go up. You rebelled against the mouth. That means the words of Yah, your Elohim. You distrusted his words. You didn't believe what he said to you. You thought he was not speaking the truth, that he was not going to or not able to bring you into the land. You accused him of being deceptive. You accused him of not being a good husband. Notice it says, and grumbled in your tents. He heard every word. And said, because Yah was hating us. Where did that come from? Yah specifically told the children of Israel it was because he loved them. And because of the promises that he had made to their fathers, that he was blessing them in this way. And said, because Yah was hating us, he has brought us out of the land of Mitzrayim to give us into the hand of the Amorites to destroy us. Well, their story changed. I don't know if it was fear or what it was that brought about this change. I know 2 out of the 12 spies brought a good report. Let us go up immediately and possess the land. The other 10 brought an evil report of disbelief and discouraged the hearts of the people. But they went from understanding that Yah loved them and he was giving them a good land to saying that he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim to give them into the hand of the Amorites to destroy them. Where are we going to? What are we going to do now, they're saying? Where are we going to go? Our brothers have made our hearts melt. Well, you should have listened to Yah, not your brothers. Saying, the people are greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to the heavens. And we saw the sons of the Anakim there too. Well, what do you expect? It's the best land. Do you think the best land is going to be uninhabited? No, the peoples are going to fight, and the tallest and the strongest and the greatest are going to be the ones who possess the best land. But have you forgotten about the Elohim who is going before you? The Elohim of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Yaakov? Have you lost trust? Have you forgotten about Mitzrayim? Have you forgotten about how the Father provided for you in the wilderness? Have you forgotten about how the Father had already conquered great sovereigns? They must have already forgotten. The people are greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to the heavens. And we saw the sons of the Anakim there too. They took their eyes off of their great Elohim and put it on things that were going on around them. And their hearts melted. They were discouraged. Then I said to you, have no dread or fear of them. Yah, your Elohim, who is going before you, he does fight for you. He already promised those things, that he would go before them, that he would fight for them. Quit looking at the enemy and look at the Elohim who is with you. Yah, your Elohim, who is going before you. He does fight for you according to all he did for you in Mitzrayim. Don't you remember? Before your eyes, you saw it. You saw the signs and the wonders and the miracles. You saw what happened in Mitzrayim. Don't forget that. And in the wilderness, where you saw how Yah, your Elohim, has borne you as a man bears his son. He carried you through the wilderness in all the way that you went until you came to this place. Have you already forgotten? Yet in this matter, you are putting no trust in Yah your Elohim. This is the point of chapter 1. The point of chapter 1 is this: if you're going to get into the land, if you're going to inherit the promises that Yah has made to you, you have to learn to trust him. Take him at his word. If he said it, he'll do it. If he spoke it, it will come to pass. Believe him. Be trusting. Be obedient. Do what he says, and you will possess the land. Yet in all this matter, you are putting no trust in Yah your Elohim, who is going before you in the way to seek out a place for you to pitch your tents. He's involved at every level. He's going before you. He's going to find a place for you to pitch your tent. Can you trust him? To show you the way you should go. Notice, in fire by night and in a cloud by day. He's with you as a fire by night and a cloud by day. And Yah heard the voice of your words. Be careful what you say. And was wroth and took an oath, saying, not one of these men of this evil generation shall see that good land of which I swore to give your fathers, except Caleb, son of Yephuneh. He shall see it, and to him and his children I give the land on which he walked. Why? Because he followed Yah completely. He trusted Yah completely. He obeyed Yah and his commandments. And because of that, he will inherit the land. His children will be blessed after him. So because they distrusted him and grumbled and complained and murmured in their tents and disobeyed him, Yah took an oath, saying, not one of these men of this evil generation shall see that good land of which I swore to give to your fathers. Now, this reminds me of Hebrews chapter 3. Let's go over there. Hebrews chapter 3. And we'll pick up with verse 7. Hebrews 3 and verse 7 says, therefore, as the set-apart Spirit says, this is Yah speaking by his Spirit, today if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion in the day of the trial in the wilderness. Don't do like they did. When you hear his voice, trust him, obey him, follow him. Do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion in the day of trial in the wilderness, where your fathers tried me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years. Therefore I was grieved with that generation and said, they always go astray in their heart, and they have not known my ways. As I swore in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest. Look out, brothers, lest there be in any of you a wicked heart of unbelief in falling away from the living Elohim. In other words, in falling into distrust, where you don't trust your husband. You don't trust the one who's made promises to you. You don't trust the one who's proven himself again and again and again. Don't be like that. Look out, brothers, lest there be in any of you a wicked heart of unbelief in falling away from the living Elohim. But encourage one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened by the deceivableness of sin. Sin is a transgression of the Torah. And so you don't want to be hardened through distrust into disobedience. For we have become partakers of Messiah, notice, if we hold fast the beginning of our trust firm to the end. It works for those of us who follow Yeshua. You have to hold fast and be firm in your trust of what the Father has accomplished through Yeshua. Again, it says, for we have become partakers of Messiah if we hold fast the beginning of our trust firm to the end. While it is said today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion. For who, having heard, rebelled? Was it not all who came out of Mitzrayim, led by Moshe? And with whom was he grieved 40 years? Was it not with those who sinned, who transgressed the commands of Yah, whose corpses fell in the wilderness? And to whom did he swear that they would not enter into his rest, but to those who did not obey? So, we see that they were unable to enter in because of unbelief. They did not enter into the promises. They did not inherit because they distrust the Father, and their distrust led them to disobedience because they didn't trust him, because they didn't hold him good at his word. If Yah said it, he'll do it. If he spoke it, it'll come to pass. We're going to obey him. We're going to trust him. We're going to follow him. We're going to do what he says. If they had done that, they would have inherited the land. But because they distrusted him, I think about the tithe commandments, where it says that we should tithe our income and give offerings. And if we do, we'll be blessed. Many people today distrust that. I think about the passages that say that there's healing in the covenant, that Yah will bless our bread and our water and take sickness from our midst. Many people distrust those promises. Promises of Yah going before us and fighting our battles and making a way of escape. People distrust those things. You will not inherit the promises of Yah. You will not get into the promised land, so to speak, if you distrust him, because your distrust will lead to disobedience. Now, let's go over to 1 Corinthians and continue along this line of thought. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, we're going to begin with verse 1. It says, for I do not wish you to be ignorant, brothers, that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and all were immersed into Moshe in the cloud and in the sea. And all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed. In other words, those things were a picture of Messiah. That rock where the water came out pictured Messiah and the living water that would come forth because of Yeshua's sacrifice. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed. Mashiach was to come. He was to follow. He followed that rock that was in the wilderness. It doesn't mean he was that rock in the wilderness. People are mistaken about that. But he followed those pictures. He fulfilled those pictures. It says, and the rock was Messiah. However, with most of them, Elohim was not well pleased. A whole generation of people died in the wilderness. For they were laid low in the wilderness. And these became examples for us. Pay attention, learn your lessons, so that we should not lust after evil, as those indeed lusted, and do not become idolaters, as some of them, as it has been written, the people sat down to eat and to drink, and stood up to play. Neither should we commit whoring, as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 fell. Neither let us try Messiah, as some of them also tried. They tried Elohim. We're not to try Messiah, and were destroyed by serpents. Neither grumble, as some of them also grumbled, and were destroyed by the destroyer. And all these came upon them as examples, and they were written as a warning to us on whom the ends of the ages have come, so that he who thinks he stands, let him take heed, lest he fall. No trial has overtaken you except such as is common to man, and Elohim is what? Trustworthy, who shall not allow you to be tried beyond what you are able, but with the trial shall also make the way of escape, enabling you to bear it. So the Father allowed them to be in a place where there was no water, and they suffered thirst for a while, but he provided water. He allowed them to hunger. They were in a place where there was no food. He brought manna. And so the idea here is he's not going to take you to a place where he can't provide for you. He's always going to lead you out if you will trust him. Listen to what I'm saying, because some of you may be in a trial today and you think it's too much for you. The Father has not led you there for you to die in that place. He led you there so that he could reveal to you his provision. And if you'll trust him, he will deliver you and bring you out. Hallelujah. All right, let's go back over to Deuteronomy chapter 1, and we'll pick up with verse 37. It says, and Yah was enraged with me. This is Moshe speaking. For your sakes, saying, you do not go in there either. So what happened here? Well, Moshe's trust was also tested. They were out in the wilderness. They were thirsty. They needed water. Yah told Moshe, take your rod, strike the rock, and I'll produce water. The rock represents Mashiach. And so Mashiach was smitten once, and life-giving water came forth because of his sacrifice. Now, later on, again, they needed water, and Yah told Moshe, just speak to the rock now. Now that it has been smitten already, just speak to it, and it'll bring forth water. But the people had angered Moshe. They were grumbling. They were complaining. They were speaking all manner of evil against Moshe and Aharon and Elohim himself. And Moshe allowed himself to become angry. Every other time when the people sinned before Yah, Moshe stepped in as a mediator and interceded and prayed and interceded on behalf of the people for their sake. But this time he didn't. This time he was angry. He had gotten to the end of his patience with the people. And he was standing before the rock, and he said, shall I make water come out of the rock? And he struck it twice in his anger. He was distrusting in that moment because of the people. He was distrusting that the Father would bring water out of the rock by a gentle word spoken to it. And he went back to the original method of striking the rock. I believe he struck it once and nothing happened, so he struck it again. It says he struck it twice. The Father did allow the water to come out of the rock, but then Yah was angry with Moshe because Moshe did not trust him. And in the same manner, when the people didn't trust Yah, they didn't make it into the promised land. The same punishment was meted out to Moshe. He didn't make it into the promised land. He got to go up on the mountain and look down and see it, but he didn't get to go into the promised land. Trust is everything, dear ones. That's what I'm saying to you. Trust is everything. Your husband wants you to trust him. He wants you to trust that he is a good provider. He wants you to trust that he is a good protector. He wants you to trust that he will care for you, that he will carry you, that he will fulfill his promises, that he's trustworthy. He wants you to believe that. And he wants you to be obedient, because it's your obedience that reveals your trust. If you distrust him, you will disobey him. But if you trust him, you will obey him. It says, and Yah was enraged with me for your sakes, saying, you do not go in there either. Let me share with you another interesting passage. This is over in Deuteronomy chapter 32. It's about Moshe and that incident there at the rock. Deuteronomy chapter 32, we're going to pick up with verse 45. It says, and when Moshe ended speaking all these words to all Israel, he said to them, set your heart on all the words with which I warn you today, so that you command your children to guard to do all the words of this Torah. That's really good advice for all of us. For it is not a worthless word for you. Don't disregard the word. Don't disregard the commands. Don't disregard the ways of Yah and the way he wants you to live. For it is not a worthless word for you, because it is your life. If you want to live, obey the commandments. And by this word you prolong your days on the soil which you pass over the Yarden to possess. If you'll obey the Torah, then your days will be prolonged upon the soil that Yah is giving you. You can apply that spiritually as a believer in Yeshua. And Yah spoke to Moshe that same day, saying, go up this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, which is opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel as a possession, and die on the mountain. Don't die on the mountain of distrust. Let me say it again. Don't die on the mountain of distrust. And die on the mountain which you ascend, and be gathered to your people, as Aharon your brother died on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his people. Notice, because you trespassed against me, you didn't trust me, in the midst of the children of Israel, at the waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the wilderness of Sin, because you did not set me apart, you did not obey me, in the midst of the children of Israel, for you are to look at the land before you, but not into the land which I am giving to the children of Israel. I'm going to give it to the children of trust, but the children of distrust are going to die outside of the land. And keep that principle in mind. Let's get back over to Deuteronomy chapter 1, and we'll pick up with verse 38. Yehoshua, or Joshua, the son of Nun, who stands before you, he shall go in there. Strengthen him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit. He was one of the two spies that came back with a good report. He said, let's go up immediately and possess this land. He was not a son of distrust and disobedience. And your little ones and your children, who you say are for a prey. Notice here, and your little ones and your children, who you say are for a prey, who today have no knowledge of good and evil, they are going in there. And to them I give it, and they are to possess it. So your words were wrong. You said that your children were going to be a prey. But Yah is going to bring your children into the land, and they're going to possess it. But you turn and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Sea of Reeds. Then you answered and said to me, we have sinned against Yah. We ourselves are going up, and we shall fight, as Yah our Elohim commanded us. I've heard people say, Yah is the Elohim of a million chances. Not in this case. They had one opportunity to obey Yah and to trust him. and to do what he said. And they failed, and they didn't get another chance. So my recommendation to all of us is to obey while we have the chance. Obey while you have the chance. We have sinned against Yah. We ourselves are going up, and we shall fight, as Yah our Elohim commanded us. And when each one of you had girded on his battle gear, you were ready to go up into the mountain. Well, why weren't you ready earlier when Yah said go? And Yah said to me, say to them, do not go up nor fight, for I am not in your midst, lest you be smitten before your enemies. So now Yah's going to show them that he was fighting their battles for them, but not anymore. He was going before them, but he's not going with them now. Now they're going to find out how much they needed him, and they should have trusted him in all that he did for them. So I spoke to you, but you would not listen, and rebelled against the mouth of the words of Yah, and acted proudly, and went up into the mountain. So Yah's not with them now. We'll see how great they are now. Then the Amorites, who dwelt in that mountain, came out against you, and chased you as bees do. You ever been chased by bees? I have. And drove you back from Seir to Hormah. And you returned and wept before Yah. But Yah would not listen to your voice, nor give ear to you. The children of distrust do not possess the land. So you dwelt in Kadesh many days, according to the days that you dwelt. And so this is a powerful, powerful passage that encourages us to trust Yah, to rehearse the things he's already done for us in our lives, to keep our eyes on him. Don't start looking around at the circumstances, and don't listen to people around about you who will speak an evil report. Don't let your heart melt. Keep yourself rooted in Yah's words. Remember what he has said about you. Believe his promises and act upon his promises. Be obedient to his commandments. And if you'll do that, you will not die on the mountain of distrust and disobedience, but you will cross over the Jordan and you will inherit the land of promise.